Hey YouTube, it's Cutt here, and we're bringing you another one. Yes, we are doing this again, and I'm very excited about it. So we're gonna try something new, which is I'm gonna show you guys how to turn your illustrations in Procreate, or really anywhere, into vectors. Okay, but before we do that, don't forget to like, subscribe, push that notification button, because we're gonna keep bringing this stuff to you. Okay. So, this brand is called Swag Tunes. This is a client of mine, and we've done a few things together, and this is something I would like to show you guys. So, this particular client, and a lot of clients, they want to use the artwork that I create as a vector, right? They want to use it on shirts or just in a way where it's non-destructive in a sense of like no pixels. And right now, the more I zoom in, you can see these are pixels. And even though it's a high quality image and you can get away with this image printed on something, you're still not that flexible with changing the colors later on. And if you blow this up really big, you're going to see those pixels. We want to get to the point where this is a vector. So no matter how big you blow it up, it's a very clean, sharp line. And you cannot do that with a pixel program like Procreate or Photoshop or any of those pixel-based products, pixel-based programs, and so many B's and P's. Look, anyway, so as you can see, there's other things I need to do for hers, but this is something I can show you guys at the moment. So first I'm going to actually turn this off. Oh wait, this is already off. This off, because even though I do want it to be thick, I would rather do that once it's a vector, and I'll show you guys later, as opposed to doing it now as an illustration. It's just not necessary. Also, these flies. So number one, there was a fly. Let me get my brush. There was a fly here. Where is it at? Did I turn it off already? Oh, I must have just deleted it. Anyway, so I had a fly here. Oh, okay, that's big. I had a fly here, and she was like, no, I actually take this one away and just keep these two. And I agree. But it also didn't matter. Why? Because all of these will be turned into vectors, so I'll be able to move everything later on once it's vectorized. So what I'm not going to vectorize are these flies as they are, because I've already created the fly bigger, which I prefer because that means it'll have a sharper line later on. So let's do the fly first. So we can see the fly is in a group. I wish I had this a little bit cleaner. So let me actually clean this up. I'm just going to take everything that is not necessary and put it away, just to not confuse myself. So now we have, it was all the sketch stuff that's turned off. We have the word Swag Tunes, and now we have the fly, right? So we're going to start with the fly. What I do, now there's no like right or wrong way. This is just what I do, what feels comfortable for me. I go in. Now you can see I'm going to actually turn the background off so we can really see, right? Which you have to make sure you turn the background off in most cases, just to make it easier, especially when you're dealing with the black. You don't have to turn the background off, but if you want the black to be fully transparent in an easier way later on, then that's what you would want to do. And I'll show you how you do that later. So right now you have the wings in their own group. And I'm going to bring it up here. And then you have the base or the body of the fly in its own group, right? So if you take the wings off, you could easily take it off and it's seamless, right? Now, what we're going to do is turn this off. And then I'm going to turn this off and I'm going to save it. So what I do is I say, all right, I want to save it. So I go to this what is that, a wrench? The wrench at the top. I go to share and I go to a PNG. The PNG will allow it to be transparent, and I save it. So now we have, and I save it. So I'm just saving it to my photos or whatever. So now this layer is ready to go. So now I turn that off and I turn this on. Now it's already pretty transparent. So I'm actually gonna turn it up. And as you can see, it's a little bluish. And that's very close to white. So what I'm going to do is actually make it gray for now. Because if I make it white, later on I won't be able to turn this into a vector. So it has to not be white. It has to at least be some type of color. So I just made it some type of gray so that later on it can be easily turned into a vector. So I'm going to save this. Right? And I'm going to undo it because I want to keep that color the way it was, just so that if I do a speed drawing or anything, all that information is still there. So now I can turn this off. We know the wings are done. Now we're going to go to the fly. All right. And what we're going to do is turn off the color, and we'll do the, so even though on here I had the legs and the body in a separate thing, but for the vector, we're going to keep it just as it is. So now we have the body, which is inked. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to share it. And we're going to save it to our photos. Now I'm going to show you two different methods that I use in regard to using the color. So because the color, so I'm going to turn these off and turn this on. Right now, the color is clipped. All these colors, all these layers are clipped inside of this gray layer right here, right? Now, if I was to unclip, you'll see, I'm gonna turn this one off, that some of these layers, like the red, is outside, it comes outside of the scope of that gray. So I'm gonna undo. So if I go back to how it was, you can see it's cropping it out. If I want to get this color, the red, vectorized, I would either have to take it out, have it be unclipped, oops, and then save that red by itself, and then later on crop it back in, or I would have to crop it now so that it's a clean shape when I bring it in. So we're going to try both methods so that you can see the two different ways of doing it. For this way, for the fly, we're going to do it one way, and for the words, we'll do it another way, so you can see the two methods. So let's try the method where we crop it now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate, just so we save the original how we had it. I'm going to turn it off, bring it down. And then we go back inside. Remember, we already got this layer of the ink, so I'm going to turn that off. And now I'm going to select this main shape. Actually, just to make it clear, I'm going to unclip it here. I'm going to select this, and then I'm going to invert it like that. And then I'm going to go to the red, and I'm going to push clear. And now you can see it cleared all the excess color. So let me do that to all the layers. I turn this gray off, everything is clean and cut. So now we don't technically need the gray for this particular layer. So now everything is super clean and ready to be converted to a vector in another program. So just as before, I'm going to save every layer that I didn't save already and prepare it for vector. So actually, before we go on, just so you can understand, because the only thing that I want to have be something that we can change, I'm actually going to show you why I would only flatten all the color. So for instance, let me bring this back to where it was. Here we go. So for instance, the highlights and the shadow, I'm going to want that to be on a separate layer. But all these colors, because it's only 1, 2, 3 colors here, I'm actually going to keep that as one shape. So we have the red, we have the green, we have the yellow, and we have the orange. So actually that is 4 colors. So because there's only 4 colors here, I'm going to save this as one actual image because it's not much going on here. So I'm going to save this by itself. And then I'm going to turn it off, all the ones that we need off. And then I'm going to do only the shadows, just like that. And we can keep it transparent. I'm going to turn the shadows off and do only the highlights and save that. Now we are ready to turn this into a vector. So we're going to pause here. And now I'm going to do the same thing with Swag Tunes, except it'll be prepared for the other method of converting and cleaning up those shapes. So everything was saved into my photos. And as you can see, everything, well, you can't see the black because it's transparent. You have the wings. There's more transparent color here. It's either the shading or the highlights. Actually, the shading's there. Actually, I wonder what that was. Oh, yes, the rest of the body. Because this is the wings at the top here. And then this is the other part of the body here. And then there's Swag Tunes, which obviously you can't see the words. See how you can see the words here? The color, the shadows, the highlights. Wait. Oh, it's double highlights. Okay, highlight and then... Oh, rim lighting. That's what this is. Okay. So now we have all that ready. So now what I'm going to do is select everything. I'm going to share it to my iMac so that we can go to Adobe Illustrator. So let's go straight over there. Okay, so now we're at the computer. We're on my iMac. That's my screensaver. I was doing NFTs and they did not sell, but I'm still trying to figure it out. So I'm going to do another round soon, but right now they're just my background saver. And I'm not even into start. Okay, that's a whole other thing. Anyway, that's my background. And what you can see here in my downloads folder, these are all the files that I saved and then airdropped to my computer. So we can see it all here. And then I already have my folder prepared. So I'm just going to do is take these downloads and drop them into my folder here. I'm just going to just name them. I'm not going to get too crazy about it. Rename it. Do underscore. We're going to start it at 1. And then boom, it's saved. I'm just going to drop it in here. And these are just the files. I'm not really worrying about too much about labeling it and all that. Okay, so that's saved. Now what I do, I'm just going to move this over here and go and close this out. And I'm going to bring up, which should already be ready. I'm going to bring up Illustrator. So I'm just going to go to new file. And I usually do a square. And, you know, I'm going to actually do a square for this because it was designed in a square and just will be a lot easier. So I'm going to do the 1080 by 1080. Doesn't matter much, but for this particular thing, because it's going to be a vector and that's the main point of this, is less about what the image is saved as. It's more about having it prepared as a vector so that the person who needs the file can use it in whichever way they want. So I'm going to click create. Now, as remember, oh, actually I'm going to do this, just so we can kind of see how it drops in. Okay. So right now we're just going to bring in the wings. So I already remember the wings was only 2 layers. So I'm going to grab the first layer, the second layer, drag it in. And as you can see, it's backwards. So I click, if you do Control, Shift, and back bracket, it brings it all the way to the back. So if you do Control bracket, it only brings it forward 1. And if you do Control Shift back bracket or up bracket, it will bring it all the way to the top, all the way to the bottom. Obviously, it's only 2 layers here, so it can only go one way. So before I do anything, I'm actually just going to put this on its own layer. I'm going to lock it. And now lock it. I'm going to bring another layer in. And then I'm going to do the fly, which is only 4 layers. And I'm going to drag this over. Oops. For some reason, the fly came in a little bit smaller, but that's okay. So before I do, I just want to make sure this all lines up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually bring it to the base. I'm going to make the screen bigger because we have everything we need. Just going to bring it down by bringing it to artboard and dropping it to the bottom, centering it. And I'm just going to drag this to here just to be even. And then what I'm going to do is do the same thing with only the fly. Oops. I'll just unlock that. There we go. And then same thing, bring it to the bottom, bring it to the center, and then drag it all the way to the top. So now, if I bring this down, everything should line up perfectly. Okay? So now I just want to make sure it's all together so that when I turn into a vector, it's not like off, right? Now, as you can also see, some of this stuff is out of order. So I think you have to drag backwards, but we'll have to test that with the next one. So bring that to the top. That's the highlights. That's the shadows. That's the color. All right. So starting with this, I'm going to take the ink and I'm going to go to image trace. If I do a drop down, so remember, this is still, remember, it's transparent. So yeah, I could go ahead and say, I want it to be, black and white. Where is it at? No. Let's say I want it to be 3 colors. So it's going to say, okay, out of everything you have, let's see if we could turn this to 3 colors. So if I click that, it's trying to calculate everything. You can see it made it white and black, which is great, but it's like, I really wanted that to just stay transparent. I think as far as I remember, if I undo, if you do black and white logo for this particular file layer, I think it keeps it transparent, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, no, it doesn't. So actually, if you go to image trace and you say advance, and where is it at? Oh, here it is. So where it says ignore whites, if you click ignore whites and then click trace for black and white and push OK. Yep, it's hard to tell, but you'll see that it vectorized it. So if I zoom in, super clean lines, they are vectorized and it's still transparent. Okay. Now, I'm going to zoom back out again, but I'm going to keep it the way it was because we don't need to do all that. Right, so if this is before it's vector, if I zoom in, you see how blurry everything is? We don't want that. We want it to be super clean lines. So instead of going that route, which is fine, but it's just not necessary. Oops. What we can do is we select the legs, we go to image trace, and we can still click black and white, push OK. It vectorized it, but it's still not controllable. Like I can't select anything, right? We want to be able to select. So you go back, you click expand. And what it does, it says, oh, we want to turn all of the things that we see into a vector that has points. So if I click A, you can see I can control the points, right? But right now it's still one group. So you go inside, and what I do is I double click the object. I select any white area. I go up to the top and click select similar objects, and it's going to grab anything that's white. See? And all the black is there. And I just go ahead and delete it. I double click on the empty space, and now you can see all the black is vectorized. So now we're going to do the same thing, but with the color images. So I'm going to turn the black off because we can now see all the layers that make up that black. And now we're going to do the next part. Now this part is the highlight. So we're going to go to image trace. Now, from what I see, there are only 3 colors. We have the yellow, the green, and then remember the transparent is technically white, right? So I'm going to go ahead, go to 3 colors, push OK, let it do its thing. And remember, we're going to click expand, double click inside, grab the white, and then we're going to select anything that's white. You can see it's all deleted, and then push delete. It was all selected, then we push delete, right? Now, as you can see, it looks good, but it's not doing that whole highlight thing. Like, see the yellow here is getting lost in the yellow. It's because in the program Procreate, it had some effect. It had an add effect. Now, there is an add in Illustrator. You can only do an add mode in Photoshop. But the closest thing you can do is either lighten, screen, and sometimes overlay, depending on how you want the effect. The first thing I always try is screen to make sure it's something that's closer to the reality of what I had before. So let's see. And from what I'm seeing, this looks pretty accurate to what I had. But let's try lighten. Nope, see the yellows get lost. And let's try overlay. Overlay is not bad, but it's more subtle. But see how the green is getting lost in the shadows? We don't want that. So what we want is screen. Now, that was the highlights. I'm going to turn that off now. And now we need to do the shadows. Shadows have the same thing as black and white. So what I do is you know what? I think when you do black and white, it makes it black and white. So we're going to still do 3 colors here. And push OK. And then we're going to do expand. And then we're going to go inside, select the white, and delete. Now, you might notice something. I selected the white, but all the white didn't delete. Remember, we clicked 3 colors, even though there was only 2. So the computer said, okay, you selected 3 colors, and out of this, I have to see what is the closest to 3 colors. So even though this was white, it said maybe this white is a little bit darker or a little bit brighter. So we're going to break this into 3 colors. And because this shape is truly one solid image, it said, well, this must be one color. So what I then do is say, okay, what was the next color that I wanted to remove? It's this other white. I do the same thing. Now see how it collected all the white? And then I delete. And now we have this. But it's looking crazy. But we want this to be a shadow. So what I do is, remember, there's no mode. Right now, it's on normal mode. We want to change this to multiply. And that was actually the mode that was in Procreate. And now you can see it is showing the color underneath. If I turn the highlights back on, you're getting all that detail. I'm actually going to bring the shadows above the highlight like that. And now you're getting all the detail that you need. Actually, I'm going to bring it back because I like the brightness that was on the side here, right? And last but not least, we're going to turn these off and we're going to get these colors. Now, same thing before. I thought it was 3 colors, but it's actually 4. You have red, so that's 1, green, 2, yellow, 3, orange, 4, and actually it's 5 because we have to also consider the white. So now what we're going to do is we're going to select this. We're going to go up to image trace. If I click 3, watch what happens. Because I said I want this to be 3 colors, it made everything into 3 colors. So we only have white, green, and yellow. So that's why I can't do that. So I undo. And because I know it's 5, I can go 1 up. So what I'll do is, instead of doing 3 colors, I'll do 6. And now it gave us exactly what we want. But remember, there was only 5 colors there, but we clicked the button 6. That means this turned this into 6 colors in some way. But with the naked eye, it's no way to tell what the computer calculated. So what I do is I expand it. For sure we know we don't want the white. So we go inside, we grab the white, we click delete. Now, the good thing is this red, I'm still going to push it, has no other red anywhere. So we're not going to worry about that. Same thing with the green. I'm assuming the green, did you see that? I'm going to zoom in. I see what happened. So I click that, and you see this green? It's there. It's small, it's subtle, but it exists. So you're going to click that, and what I'm going to do actually is merge that. So you're going to go to Pathfinder, and if you can't see that, you go to your Windows, and you go down to Pathfinder. But I have mine already here, and I always like to go to this one if I'm going to flatten a color into one object. So I'm going to do that, and I'm just going to, but you know what? To be honest, let me zoom in. So even though, yes, it says, oh, this is green, but honestly, it's more red. So instead of making it green, I'm going to select it. I'm going to push I, which is the eyedrop tool, select red, put it with this red. So I'm going to drag the red, and now I'm going to combine it to make that one object. So we already know the green is good, but now let's make sure the yellow is good. I'm going to select this yellow, select all the yellow up. You see? So it said this is one color, and it said that this other yellow is another color. And that's how we're getting 5 colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And remember, I already deleted the 6, which was the white. So I'm going to undo, and I'm going to undo. Oops. So I'm going to say I want this to be this color. So I'm going to eyedrop it and turn it into this color. So now when I select the yellow, it's all together because I said this is all one color. And we don't have to flatten it, but that is all one color. And then same thing with the orange. This is all one color. So now when I zoom out, we are now ready to look at everything. Boom. So now if I was to highlight it all, everything is ready. Uh-oh. No, unlock. If I zoom it out, everything is ready to be vectorized. Everything has a point that can be manipulated. You can change the color in any way. So when I give this to the client, they can say, you know what? I don't want it to be green. I want it to be blue. Let me actually go back, right? They can say, oh, you know what? The green was nice, but I think we want to go with the blue. So we're like, oh, we want a blue fly. And then boom, they could have a blue fly if they want. Before, there was no way, or at least not a simple way, to change that color without the original pixel, what do you call it, Procreate file, right? So remember, we have to do the wings as well, right? So same thing. I'm actually going to go through this process and we'll come back. So I now have the wings also as a vector, but they're one gray, which wasn't the color I had before, and also they're not transparent. So what I like to do is get the color that I wanted, which is kind of like a bluish white, almost like that. Now I could just go ahead and maybe overlay it, and then you'll see it through it. But now it just looks, and this is a style that maybe they might want to go with, and it looks good over this, but there's only a little bit of an area here. So instead of that, I'm actually just going to lower the opacity, maybe let's say 50 to 50. That looks good. So now if we were to put this anywhere, it could have some transparency. Now that's not going to work for every type of design, like on a shirt, you can't really do transparencies, but that's something that can be changed or manipulated in any way. And be prepared. So they could always say, you know what, we're not going to do that. We're just going to go white and we're going to just keep it opaque. And it still looks pretty cool. So now what we're going to do, I'm just going to take this, I'm going to group it together, and I'm going to take this and group it together. So I right click and you click group. So now I can just grab it as one object. And then I'm going to put this into one file. So I'm actually going to just take this and just move it into here, into one layer. So now if I select this layer, everything is selected. So that's the fly. Now, remember, for the method that we tried in the Procreate was 2 different methods. So the method for the fly color was to remove all the excess in Procreate and bring it in. Now this is probably the faster way of doing it, but there's a way to do it if you didn't prepare in that way. And we're going to show that with the other layers. So let me prepare those files for you. So as you can see, this is not as clean here as it was in Procreate. Is because all the layers are outside of the main base color, and that main base color here is the yellow. So as the fly came in super clean, because we did all the cleaning up in another stage, here we're going to do it in this stage. So before we clean everything up, first we have to turn everything into a vector. So I'm going to grab the ink. So same thing, it's out of order. We're going to bring the ink to the top here. And I'm going to turn everything off just so we can see what we're working with. And I'm going to go to black and white. Push enter, let it do its thing. I'm going to click expand. Double click inside, grab the white. Make sure I grab all the white. Delete it. And then we have a white and black vector. No matter how much I zoom in, perfectly clean lines. And that's great for, it's great for logos. So we did the white. Now I'm going to do the same method for all of the other colors. So, as you can see, we have everything where we want to be. So this is a good example of this highlighter. When I put it to screen, it was just too white, and that wasn't the color that I first provided. So when I turned it to overlay, you can see it's a little closer to what I actually drew it as, right? Now, the highlights are pretty good. Like, we shouldn't have to worry about that too much, because even if they go out a little bit, it's nothing that we have to worry about too much. What we do have to worry about is the shadow, because before it was clipped inside of this yellow, but now because we didn't clean it up, it's just sitting out looking crazy. Okay, so how do we clean it up? The best way to do this, in my opinion, is to go to that base yellow. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it right back to where it was. So copy, you do Control C. If I just do Control V, it'll paste it, but it'll just paste it anywhere. We want it to paste exactly where it was. We're going to do Control Shift V, and it pastes it right where it was when you first copied it. And I do want it over top. Now, I want to make sure that this is inside of this. So how do I do that? So what you do is you have to go up. So you have to go up to selected. You go up to Object. You go to Compound Path. You click Make. Then you select it. Then you hold Shift. You select the color you want to go inside, which is this purple shadow. And then you do Control 7. And you say, yes, I do want that. And now it's inside. You can see it's inside of that shape. And I'm going to bring it down a layer because I want the highlights to be over top. And there you are. Everything is vectorized. Now, if we want to keep it clean so that it's not a compound path, we can go to, I think it's this one. Is it this one? Nope. I always get it confused. Maybe it's this one. Yes, maybe. Nope, that wasn't it. Was it this one? No, I always forget. Yes, there it is. Okay, so I always forget which one. So if I want to clean it up so that, like, if I was to go inside of here, that shape is still there, but we don't really want that, especially not for the client. We want to be easy access. So instead of it staying that way, we want to flatten it so that that's real again. So we click this one. What does it say? Divide. There we go. It made it light again. We go back up to multiply, And now we're good. Now we have, wait a minute. What? So it's not divide, it's actually trim. So we're saying we want to trim it so that it's not this shape, but it actually is this shape. So if I go back and click trim, now we have the shape that we want. We go up to multiply, and there you have it. So that's our base. This is what we want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make this one group. So it's one object that I can easily manipulate and move around. And then we have our flies. But remember, we want to get it back to what we had before, which was one, we want the flies to be where we had them. So I'm actually going to group this as well. So that's really one object. And I'm going to duplicate it. So actually what I did, so of course I could copy and paste it. And then boom, I have another. But what I did was I could select, I hold Alt. And you see how that double arrow comes up, and then you pull it and it duplicates in that way as well. So I'm going to take it. I'm going to actually lock that one and put it on this layer here. And I'm going to scale it down. And I'm actually looking over at my computer to see how it was originally so that I can give it to the client the way I first proposed it. And actually, I would have had this backwards. So actually, we're going to turn this. And it's about here. Same thing. We're going to duplicate this one. This one's about here. Boom. But remember, I had a layer of super black around this, which I still want, but I didn't want to have it vectorized when I can just do it here. So I'm going to copy this object, paste it where it was. I'm going to flatten it. See how now it's one object, has all the silhouettes that we have here, except it's one object. I'm going to bring it to the back. And then over here, we have the black, which is the main color. And then this here, which is transparent, is for the silhouette. I want the silhouette to be black. So yes, I could select silhouette, double click it, and then make it black. That's one way. And that's fine. But that went to white. But what I usually do is over here inside of the black, I hold Alt and I drag it. And that's just so much faster. I don't even know where I learned that. And then I'm going to, so right now it's only one weight, which is not enough. I'm going to, before I just bring it up, I'm going to click stroke. And I want that stroke to be on the outside of the design. And now I'm going to go up a few layers just to make it thicker. Maybe that's too thick. Maybe let's do 5. Let's do 4. It looks good. It's not bad. But over in this area, you see how this area is poking out? So we see here that the reason why this is pointing out is because actually this yellow that's inside the main is pointing out. So what I'm going to do is bring this down. I'm going to put here. I'm just going to bring it to about here. So now that's not pointing out, but now this is pointing out. So I'm going to grab that. Grab the dot. Oh. And I'm going to bring this in like this. Actually, I'm just going to delete it. Boom. Then I'm going to take this, clean it up a little bit. We'll talk about points later. And now it's fixed. So there you have it. We have the fly here, which is the main one, which I'll also give to the client, just so that she can use it however she wants. And then I also have the words, which will be on its own layer, and I'll bring the flies onto their own layer as well. So now we have this full design that she can use however she wants. She can change the colors, she can move it, she can manipulate it, she can do whatever she wants because now it's a vector. And there you go. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to be doing a lot more tutorials. Don't forget to like, subscribe, push that notification button because we're going to keep bringing this up to you. this is going to be a thing. So let me know what you want to learn so I can show you. And that's it. All right, y'all. What are you doing? I know you're not about to leave without liking or sharing or something. I know you see that red button. You better subscribe to my channel. See you soon.